What hidden mistakes have you been making in your financial journey? We're talking through a few we see today. Stick around. We picked out three that we'll see from time to time in meeting with clients, and I think it's an interesting way to view some things you might have been missing over the years. You know, we all have those moments, whether it be entertainment or food or experiences that you'll have and think, man, have I been missing out on this my whole life, right? And for me, Mike, I shared in the podcast of a reverse seared filet steak, and I thought, man, I've been grilling steaks for too long. This is the way to do a filet. And of course, that's a trivial example, but because we're talking about big mistakes potentially in your financial planning. And the first one is believing an uncertain event is going to be certain with your investment accounts.
Yeah, and we saw that. The perfect example of that is this summer when people, after the first wave of COVID kind of slowed down a little bit, they were as concerned like, wow, the stock market has done too well. It's going to pull back here. It's time to go to cash now, get conservative. And what we've seen the last 6 to 8 months is it's gone up 50%. And so the market is smarter than you, and more money has lost anticipating corrections than the corrections themselves.
Yeah, I like the quote from Charlie Munger we pulled on this, and it's the most extreme mistakes in Berkshire's history have been mistakes of omission. These opportunity costs don't show up on financial statements, but have cost us many billions.
Wow.
So if you think about, what missing an opportunity can do, it can really add up over time. And you shared a good example in the podcast of just 1% difference there in your investment accounts over time and what that could equal.
The analysis there, the comment there in the podcast portion was that just $1 million invested over 40 years, the difference in a 1% return is about $5 million after the 40 years. So you think 1% a year, what's a big deal? But that compound interest really does add up over time. And that's the impact of those poor decisions or mistakes.
So if we're thinking about the next hidden mistake, it's around tax opportunities and these hidden tax opportunities that'll pop up each year. And if you're not aware of them, you could be missing big savings. And we used the Roth conversion strategy because there were three different ideas that we had in 2020 alone where it could benefit you. One was the RMD was eliminated for 2020. So you could use your RMD, your required minimum distribution amount, and then convert that to a Roth IRA. You could also basically lower your lifetime taxable income by taking advantage of that opportunity. And then the third, I think, framework that you're thinking about is what happens, if a spouse passes early and we're not always in a married filing joint tax rate and you're in a single tax rate for a long period of time. So you're trying to think about that lifetime tax rate and lowering that.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Everyone's so focused on year to year. Oh, I just want to save, $2,000 on my taxes this year. But the reality is sometimes by doing that, you're going to pay a lot more in taxes over the long term. And so as Chad mentioned, we focus on more kind of lifetime tax payments versus a year to year, which, the Roth conversion is a great opportunity especially for those folks that maybe have retired, have not started Social Security yet, an opportunity to, move some of your pre-tax money to Roth IRA assets.
Then the third mistake is one that too often gets pushed to the bottom of our financial to-do list, and that's making sure estate planning registrations and beneficiaries are in order.
Yeah, and this is one we talked about on the podcast. It's not the favorite item to focus on for any individual. Very few get excited about putting an estate plan in place. But as we mentioned with the Secure Act, that was recently put into place a couple of years ago, as well as just people failed to put estate documents in place or have the correct beneficiaries or titling on their accounts, can have major ramifications in terms of what happens to your money if you're not here. So it's not something you have to do every year, but you definitely need to have an estate plan in place and review it regularly for any updates.
Things happen in life. Deaths happen, marriages, family changes, relationship changes, and that requires attention on these beneficiaries because it may be set up in a way that you don't want it to be set up, and or the same situation with widows or widowers, how that changes things and the emotional stress and thinking through those decisions. So it's important to review that often, and it can save you a lot of dollars down the road. So essentially what we're talking about here is big mistake insurance and how to make sure that you're handling things so that you've addressed it and you have peace of mind around it. That's where a financial advisor can come in. Often an accountant sometimes on the tax side can help you as well, but it's finding a way to view all these things together and find the most opportunistic areas to save you money in the long run.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think it's, a lot of times people are a little too overconfident. They think they got everything covered when, working with a trusted professional can help you avoid those mistakes and missed opportunities.
So it could be a myriad of reasons that you're thinking about it here. It could be that you just want to save time. Could be that you're looking for someone else in your life, making sure things are handled in a way that they're going to be taken care of. Or it may just be the implementation aspect, and you're like, man, yeah, this is something that I need to address, and I just haven't done it, and I need help and accountability in making sure it happens. So there's a lot of different reasons, but that's why we exist and why we have a lot of other videos and podcasts on our website at financialsymmetry.com, or here on the YouTube channel. You can subscribe if you want to check out others. Thanks for joining us today.